Welcome to Recruiting is No Joke. I'm your host, Joe Lalgee. I am super excited for the next few episodes. I'm going to be airing content that was shot live at RecFest 2025 in Nashville. It was amazing. It was a great festival. For anyone that doesn't know, RecFest is essentially a conference that's done festival style. So I'm talking tents, outdoor. Everybody is relaxed. Everybody is in their element. And it's a really great time to connect with talent acquisition leaders, HR leaders, really anyone who's interested in the people space. I got the opportunity to record live episodes of this podcast. So I've got 5 great guests in the next 2 episodes. And I was able to go to RecFest because of my sponsors for the show for these 2 episodes. And that is a company called Basic Capital. So if you go to basiccapital.com, essentially, Basic Capital has a brand new 401k option for employees. It's a way to actually have your employees more involved in their retirement. It's a lot more customizable, helps them grow their retirement 5 times faster. And I got to actually sit down in one of the episodes with one of the executives from Basic Capital, along with one of their clients who'd actually been using Basic Capital as a way to not only attract top talent, but also to retain top talent. So if you're looking for a better way to serve your current employees to candidates that you're looking to recruit, you're going to want to check out basiccapital.com. They're going to revolutionize how 401ks are done. So massive shout out to the Basic Capital team. You'll see a couple of their team members and one of their clients in one of the episodes. And then we have a variety of TA leaders and HR leaders. Hopefully you enjoy both of these episodes. We really enjoyed RecFest. We had a great time, and we think you're going to love this content as well. And remember, if you want to be a guest of the show, if you want to sponsor the show, please go to www.therealistrecruiter.com, and you can fill out an inquiry to get on the show and meet me, or you can reach out to me at LinkedIn, Joel Lalgee. Enjoy the episodes, and we will see you guys back in a few weeks with our regular episodes again. See you guys. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Recruiting is No Joke. This episode was brought to you by Basic Capital. You're competing for talent, so why settle for the same old benefits? Basic Capital helps your 401k stand out by investing with your employees, boosting their investing power by up to 5 times. It's a new way to show candidates you invest in them too. Ask your team about adding Basic Capital and make your 401k a real recruiting advantage. All right, welcome to Recruiting is No Joke Live. We are live from RecFest 2025. I want to give a huge shout out to the Purple Acorn Squad. We're live in the Purple Acorn tent. If you haven't been by, stop by. I also want to give a special shout out to Basic Capital for making these conversations possible. And I'm excited today. We're going to talk to 2 great guests at once. We got a 2-for-1 here. I always say, let's get started with some introductions. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you do it for?
I'm Nate Taylor. I'm the head of growth for Basic Capital. So super appreciative of you guys having us on. Basic Capital is a new type of 401k that gives everybody more investing power. So any plan participant can put $1 in, get $4 of financing, and get $5 of investing power. And it really changes the game for businesses. They see their participation rate jump up. They see that individuals actually participate more. And it actually plays a role in recruiting. And that's why we're sitting here next to Casey.
Yeah. Casey, who are you? What do you do? Who do you do it for?
I'm Casey. So I lead growth over at Service Professionals. So recruiting and marketing. And we're a residential home services company. So I bring on plumbers, electricians, HVAC professionals all across North Jersey.
Yeah. So you guys did a talk just now. It was awesome. A lot of questions around how you can use something like a 401k or like financial planning for the future actually as a recruiting tool, a retention tool. So Casey, I'd love to start with you. Obviously, you're recruiting a lot. You're recruiting tradespeople, which we all know. We just had someone else on who was doing trades recruiting. It's super tough, hard to find that talent. How big of a difference has been talking about retirement and kind of painting that vision for what you can offer? How big is that in the recruiting process, and how have you seen it implemented so you're actually bringing it up to candidates?
I'll tell you, recruiting in the trades is very different. You're dealing with folks that don't have resumes and they're catching you in between calls in their truck. What we found is big challenges once you actually get to the finish line with somebody that you like. The dollar amount on their hourly in our region it's more or less the same.
Yeah.
So in order to stand out, you needed something else. And for us, we started looking at what other fringe benefits, what other things part of total rewards can enhance that offer. And for us, a 401k, an innovative one, actually drove a lot of really good conversations. We had a couple of our technicians, like as soon as they joined in, they made sure they like referred other people, told other people about it. They made us interview their kids and be like, hey, you need to think about saving for the future.
That's so cool.
It was an important conversation in a really tight-knit market.
I always say like the best recruiters are happy employees, right? They're going to refer other people, especially in those markets too. It's super tough. Nate, one of the things that you talked about, traditional 401ks, right? And I think you even asked the crowd in there, you were like, how many of you guys know about 401ks or like well-versed? And like no one put their hand up. I'm curious, in terms of what you're doing, how important is it to educate people on how important thinking about your retirement is and like having those customizable features? How important is that? And why don't you think enough people are talking about this, especially like employers as well?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, I think the reality of the situation is existing providers aren't meeting people where they are.
Yeah.
And the market hasn't changed a lot in 45 years. So 401k is really important. But when somebody's recruiting, 401k is a line item and no one spends any time on it. People spend time on it if it's not there. But if it's there, it's table stakes.
Yeah, it's usually just a match, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, we do a match. That's usually what I hear.
We think that's a pretty big problem. That's the main way that people build wealth. That's the main way that people can fund their retirement.
Yeah.
And so it needs to be more than just a line item. And that's what Basic Capital does. When we come here to RecFest, one of the interesting pieces of feedback we get, first question we get is, why is a 401k at RecFest?
And then they're like, well, are you not an AI tool?
Yeah.
Sourcing?
100%. I can't believe we don't have AI in none of our messaging. But a really interesting conversation I had today with somebody who's in charge of talent branding for a 1,300 person company, hiring 400 people this year, is that he needs every tool in his tool belt to talk about why people should come to his company. There are competitors that do the same thing. And benefits is not something he can really dwell on for very long. And we want to change that. We want to be a recruiter's best friend by making 401k something that people really talk about.
Yeah.
And we put our money where our mouth is. Like people do participate more, people participate more deeply, and we have a really unique set of features. And so again, the recruiter might not be the ultimate decision maker within a business, but they're the canary in the coal mine. They're the squeaky wheel, and really talented ones that have a seat at the table know how to get the attention of the head of benefits. They know how to get the attention of the CHRO or CEO. And listen, this is a strategic benefit without the strategic cost. There's no incremental cost to going to Basic Capital. In many cases, you're saving money.
Wow.
And if you can get that added benefit and you can get a better tool to recruit people, why wouldn't you?
I love that. Better than LinkedIn Recruiter, right? It just keeps on going up. We love LinkedIn. And Casey, one of the things you talked about was when you're talking to candidates, they really get that sense that leadership at the company like actually cares about their retirement, right? And I think you shared a story of, was it your grandfather worked in the trades, worked till he was like 75, basically worked until he couldn't work anymore. How important has that been in communicating to candidates about the company culture? Just being able to communicate, hey, our leadership team, we care so much about you actually being able to retire that we're helping you invest in your future. Like, what are those conversations like?
I was quoting a senior technician that we brought on. I had asked him, like, all right, what was it? Like, well, it put us over the edge before he wound down his company. Like, why did you choose us? And he's like, the fact that you guys are trying to innovate on that front, or you're actually thinking about our future in the field, shows me that's a culture signal.
Yeah.
And that was offered up by him. That wasn't the buzzword I threw in there. And that quote kind of stuck with me. Like, all right, we need to signal to technicians and to folks in the field that we care and that we're actually backing it up and substantiating it with some vehicle, some way for them to do it. I think the trades is due for it. It's an industry that I think has been neglected. A lot of folks are thinking of it as an afterthought and they're not taking care of themselves. And we want to change the conversation a bit.
Yeah, 100%. Nate, I want to ask you too, real quick. One of the things that I've found in the recruitment is when we start talking about benefits and we start talking about these things, people, they seem to shut down. So what would be your advice to recruiters, HR leaders in having these conversations like with their team? Like, how do you get people excited about the
Talking
future?
about employees.
Employees, yeah.
I mean, I think money really matters and retirement really matters. I think that there are a handful of things. One, Jensen Huang at NVIDIA talks about how he's proud that he's minted more millionaires than any other company.
Yeah.
Not everybody is going to have NVIDIA stock to give out. Not everybody is going to have that explosive growth. But everybody can have a 401k. And if you've got a business that really prioritizes that and you go to your team and say, I want to make sure that there's the most amount of 401k millionaires of any company. And here's what I'm doing to change that. But you're going to have to work with me. You're going to have to pay attention. You're going to have to contribute. And if you have questions and that's stopping you from contributing, we have to talk about that. And by the way, we're going to work with a company that really cares about that. What we do is we show up in person. We onboard teams. We do it department by department. We're really available. If somebody reaches out to us for support, they're a participant. It takes us 14 minutes to respond to an email. That's huge. I mean, people can't lose faith in the system and they can't feel like they're numbers on a big spreadsheet. And I think that's what recruiters need to lean into. That's what the HR team needs to lean into. And it starts with picking the right partner.
Love that. Yeah. And I think, too, one of the things, too, people don't do that best work, right? When they have anxiety around the future. And I've worked in environments before where people live in paycheck to paycheck. And if they're not actually feeling secure, they're not going to get the best work done. They're not going to be able to retain them. I know we're running out of time here, so I want to finish with this last question. I take it for both of you, this is your first RecFest. What's been the best part of RecFest for you, Casey, being a recruiter, being someone that's actively a practitioner?
For me, I like keeping a pulse on what's coming next. I think the challenge, particularly for me with recruiting folks in the trades, like we don't have resumes handy. We don't have a lot of the traditional avenues to recruit people into. Being able to understand what's coming tech-wise, how can I make the candidate experience easier? How can we have a more enticing offer for a candidate? So keeping a pulse on what's happening in the industry.
I love it. And Nate, for everyone else, where's the best place to connect with you? Basic Capital, where can people find out what you guys do and what you offer?
Yeah, so basiccapital.com, really straightforward. You can come there, you can learn more about the product. We've got videos that explain the product. You can book a call with me, with our head of employer strategy. You can read the case study from Casey's company. You can read the case study from other companies we've worked with, and we'd love to have a conversation. We know it's a long one, it's a big decision, but that's the best way to do it. Basiccapital.com.
Basiccapital.com. Well, guys, thank you so much. It was great connecting, great hearing the talk. And for everyone who's listening at RecFest, it's great to be here with you guys. And if you're listening to the podcast after, go to basiccapital.com, connect with Casey and Nate, and we will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one. Welcome, everybody. We are excited to be at RecFest 2025. I've got to look at the right camera here. We are in the Purple Acorn tent. I want to give a special shout out to our friends at Basic Capital for just making sure that we could host these conversations. It's been a great day so far, and we're going to be having some great conversations today as well. So I got my first guest with us. Why don't you do us a favor? Tell us who you are, what you do, and who you do it for. Those are my 3 questions.
Okay. All right. So my name's Jennifer Beckman. I am the HR director at Long Building Technologies. We are an HVAC building automation, mechanical services, specialty contractor, and we are making a difference in the world every day.
I love it.
And lead our talent acquisition team as well. So always looking for new ways to find talent.
Yeah.
We definitely are in a talent shortage type of industry.
Yeah.
So love connecting with people like you to learn a little bit more about what we can be doing for those authentic connections, because in line with our culture is those authentic connections.
Yeah, we were talking beforehand. I know with the trades in particular, massive talent shortage, aging population as well within the field. So I'm curious from your perspective, there's a lot of these AI tools out here. Go for a walk around, you're going to find a ton of different AI tools. How are you using AI within your process? Are you seeing your TA team using AI to attract people? Like, I guess, what are you excited about as far as AI goes and attracting tradespeople?
Well, there's a lot happening. You're right. It might be, because there's so much happening, might be easier to say or tell you the things we're not doing.
Yeah, I love that.
Because, And so, we're experimenting on our side, building out our own tools, because we think that there's some space for that, because it can be more aligned with us and our culture. And then, of course,
keeping your brand voice and things like that.
Yes. Yeah. And then, of course, within our ATS, there's some AI that's happening. But what we aren't doing, at least right now, I can see maybe years in the future, we're considering this, is bringing in AI. Like, there's this kind of this sweet spot, right? Like, you can use AI really like at the very beginning stages of finding the resume, finding the candidate.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's the sweet spot of connection.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's helpful, at least for us and given our culture, to leverage AI too soon.
Yeah.
As it relates to that connection. The connection's really important. We want to build relationship in the recruiting process. So it's great to be here to understand, like, how are these AI companies, how are they solving for that piece?
Yeah.
Where the intersection between the relationship and the technology.
We took it to, obviously, with that shortage, you're not getting necessarily a lot of applications, right? It's not a lot of, you're not getting thousands of applications for these jobs. So I'm curious, what is your plan? Like, how are you kind of working? I guess, are you working with schools? Like, how are you kind of working to have a plan for the future, given that there's just so much work and demand for these types of projects as well, even with AI? I mean, they're building data centers everywhere. So what are you doing to kind of help with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So we are working with post-secondary schools as well as our local high schools. There is a lot happening in the Denver metro area as it relates to integration with pre-college or post-high school kind of education within the trades. So we're building relationships there as well, so that up-and-coming entry-level employees who are interested in the trades know who we are. And then in addition, once they get into the organization, we've built out career pathing as well as apprenticeship programs to kind of support someone who wants to get into the trades.
I love it.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot more Gen Z as well seem to be more attracted to the trades, just given everything that's happened in tech over the last few years. And we're hearing a lot of headlines around a lot of tech jobs getting replaced by AI. And there's not going to be as much demand. Are you seeing that? Are you seeing a lot more interest? And I guess, how are you kind of branding that employment-wise to kind of show them like what it's actually like in these jobs? Because obviously it's a very different type of job than what you maybe find in tech.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's interesting. I think there's an opportunity for us in that. You had a couple of questions. So one is the integration from being within technology career space into more of a construction-based. So our building automation division is really that kind of that intersection where we're hiring people into those roles who have, in some cases, a technology background. We know that if somebody is serving in a development role or programmer role, likely have the acumen for a job in building automation. So we know that. The challenge is other people don't really understand all that building automation is. And so helping kind of bridge that gap. So I think there is an opportunity there, and we're working on it.
We have a lot of listeners too who have maybe kids that are entering that later high school, going into college. What advice would you give to parents who maybe have their kids coming to them and go, hey, what should I do? And like, I'm nervous about all these shifts that we're seeing in tech, even with a lot of these corporate jobs. Like, what advice do you have for parents to just not guide them in the direction of the trades, but I don't know, give them kind of more of a balanced view on what the trades is? Because I feel like there could just be misconceptions out there about what those career paths are.
100%. And I'm glad you're asking the question, because parents tend to be our biggest barrier.
Really?
And kids in the trades. Parents want their kids to go to a 4-year college. And I think it is lack of education. Their parents, maybe that's the path they took. So it's the comfortable way.
Yeah.
And they don't really truly know all that comes with being in the trades and the true career growth that can happen in the trades. And so I would just say, like, if your kids are in high school right now, even junior high, like, you're looking in your community for what possibilities there are for education and what integration is happening within some of these tech schools. In the Denver area, we have Legacy Campus, we have Epic, we have Warren Tech, and those organizations are working with high schools. And so I think as a parent, becoming really aware of what is in my community, how can I get my kids plugged in to at least explore it as an option before they graduate, and then they know.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. One of the things too I've heard from a lot of people who are exploring the trades is maybe the culture. You know, it's a little bit more work and ready than like a corporate culture, or you can kind of hear those horror stories about you go work at a mom and pop like HVAC shop and, you know, it's a harder work environment.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that? And like, I guess, how do you kind of guard against that? Or how do you kind of guard against having that older generation conflicting with the younger generation? Like, how do you create a culture where maybe older people are mentoring younger people and it's an inviting culture for them? Like, how do you kind of bridge that gap?
It's a great question. So we have done many employment engagement surveys, and almost every time, I would say probably every time, the most discussed word in those surveys is family.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about family. We are a long family, and I don't know anybody who doesn't want that sense of community.
Yeah.
And so we feel like that is one of the things that we have that's our secret sauce. Like we take care of each other. We help each other grow in those. And so I think that transcends generations.
The last thing here too, I know like remote work has obviously become really popular. It seems like a lot of people want to work remotely, but I've also seen in the last couple of years a pushback for some people who wanting those social connections. So like, how do you communicate that to candidates of how important it is to have that human connection while you're at work and that community like you're talking about?
That's a great question.
Well, I guess have you seen more of a desire for people like coming in and they're like, hey, I want to do work with my hands. I want to go in.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think now more than ever, really. And I think now more than ever, people desire the connection. So we do certainly have some positions that are remote based or can work remotely occasionally, like a hybrid, right? Isn't something that really impacts the talent pool for us. I think people want to be around one another.
Yeah.
It's what we find to be true.
I love it. I love it. Is it your first time at RecFest?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. How are you finding it? What's the vibe like?
It's awesome. I mean, I can tell that people, they want to know what else they can be doing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opportunity for innovation and recruiting. I'm sure you know that, having served on the agency side for quite some time. It's exciting. It's really exciting. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Where can people connect with you? What's the best place to find out what you're up to and what you're doing?
Yeah. On LinkedIn, Jennifer Beckman, Long Building Technologies. That's probably the best way right now.
Awesome. And we have a special gift too. Our sponsors, Basic Capital, which I'll give to you. So we got some good goodies in there.
Appreciate that.
Are you going to be speaking as well? Are you doing a session?
I am not. I am an observer this year, but maybe in the future.
What session are you most excited about? Putting you on the spot here.
Yeah. There's so many. I'm just excited. I'm popping into all of them because I think there's just great content all over. And
I love it.
Yeah, I think we're learning from some really good experts here in the industry. So it's really exciting.
I love it. Well, thank you for joining us. And guys, we got 2 more guests today as well, which I'm really, really excited about. Jennifer, thank you so much for connecting.
Absolutely.
And I always say, if you're going to connect with a guest on LinkedIn, just be mindful that Jennifer's probably not hanging out on LinkedIn all day like me. So just say, hey, I heard you on the podcast and send that connection request out.
Awesome.
But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See you guys. All right. Welcome to Recruiting is No Joke live from RecFest 2025. We're in Nashville. It is hot. It's humid. It's fun. It's laid back. We're having a great time. This is day 2 of interviews. Yesterday, we had some really, really great guests, and today it's the same. I want to give a special shout out to our host, Purple Acorn. We're in the Purple Acorn tent. It's great. We got the great setup right by the entrance. I also want to give a shout out to our friends at Basic Capital as well for sponsoring the show. But we have another guest. So I'd love for you to let us know, who are you? What do you do? And who do you do it for?
Yeah, thank you. Great question to start out with.
Right? Like, who are you? You got to get really deep.
My name is Keisha Kruger. What I do is I'm a VP of People and OD at a company called ORC. So really, I'm just in charge of our people strategy, connecting the dots across our business and helping retain and engage our employees. I actually have a different, unique background than most folks here. I come from a background of organizational psychology and org development.
Very cool. So you didn't just fall into recruiting and people?
Absolutely not. I've actually just been learning about that space in the last 2 years. Yeah. But you know what the one common denominator is across everything in the people space? Humans.
Yeah. I love that. And I think in doing this show, I've done maybe 150 episodes. We're coming up to that.
Wow.
I think I've only had 3 people who like purposefully chose to go into the field. So I love that. I guess what surprised you in kind of getting into the people side of the business, HR, like leading people on the corporate side? Like, what are some of the big surprises you had in getting into the field?
So I think in order to answer that, I can give more context into why I got in the field in the first place. That. So I actually wanted to go into clinical psychology. I wanted to help individuals at an individual scale. And I started that off in my undergrad career. And then I took an abnormal psych class and I was like, oh, this is going to be hard to compartmentalize, not take home. That's a lot, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, I really want to see us change scale a lot quicker than at the individual level. I want to see impact and I want to be able to create and influence impact at a much larger way. And so I started doing research and I was like, oh, we spend a third of our lifetime in the workplace.
Yeah.
We should be capitalizing on that place. So I came across the field called IO, or industrial organizational psychology. And I was like, oh, it's workplace, it's business, and it's psychology coming together. And that is where I get to spend a lot of my time.
I love that. And you did a talk here at RecFest, or are you going to be doing a
today,
talk?
Actually, later today.
What's the talk on? Give us
So we're going to be talking about not AI. We're going to be talking about a little bit of a reprieve. We're going to be talking about the mindset shift that talent needs right now.
Oh, I love that. Talk to me more about that, because now you got me curious.
Yeah. So when we talk about in the age of AI, what are all the uniquely human skills that we want to preserve? I think a couple: critical thinking.
Yeah.
I think of systems thinking.
Yeah.
And that is connecting the dots across the business and being able to understand and recognize patterns. And I think talent professionals are in a unique position to do that. They see things on both ends of an employee life cycle, from onboarding all the way to attrition. And so being able to connect those dots and have a seat at the strategic table with the executives is so critical to be able to tell a powerful story around our people in our business.
Obviously, the last couple of years in a lot of areas, the tech and obviously talent acquisition's been impacted. Lots of friends who jumped out of TA, kind of wanting to move into other things, a lot of instability. We're seeing that across the board. Obviously, there's a lot of AI coming into the market, a lot of fear around, it's going to replace what I do. What are your thoughts on that? And like, how do you kind of coach leaders in the business to prioritize, obviously, profit and people, but like, how do you kind of balance that? Like,
all the piece, right? Like that's
all the piece.
Yeah. So I think a couple things come to mind because I'm coaching my team, but also others. I did a design thinking lab a couple weeks ago with some OD practitioners, really thinking through how are we feeling about AI right now in this space?
Yeah.
Are we feeling hopeful or are we feeling more fearful? And a lot of the responses are, we're actually a little more fearful than we are hopeful.
What do you think that is?
Right?
Yeah.
It's unknown. It's not something that has ever been traversed. We don't have where it's going to land. We don't kind of see the end point yet.
Yeah.
Obviously, 2020, we can look back at when cars came into play and all of these other technologies and with the internet, and we can see where it is ended today. But with AI, we can't. It's something that's completely unknown, and it's really hard to connect the dots where we are today. So I'm hopeful because I'm participating in the change. And that gives me hope because there's agency over how are we influencing it? How are we designing this next phase of AI? Whether it's ASI, artificial superintelligence, or it's the AGI, artificial general intelligence, as the next step. This is the first time in history that nobody in this entire world has more than 10 years of experience.
So wild.
Playing with AI in the way that we're doing it today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so just know that reframe is really helpful, just knowing that no one has the playbook.
Yeah.
If you mess up, it's okay. Everyone else is messing up too. The other cool thing I think about is how women are at the starting line with men for the first time in contributing and influencing the advancement of AI.
That's awesome. One of the things I've noticed in conversations with people, probably noticed it around the pandemic, but this word started creeping in, uncertainty. And I think AI, like you said, it compounds it because we know there's going to be jobs that are created. We know that there's going to be work, but we don't know what it looks like. But it is helpful to step back and go, yeah, nobody does know what it looks like. So one thing I noticed too is like from a content point of view, I'm a big YouTube fan. So I'll go on YouTube. The algorithm sucks me in. I see a lot of content out there that's really doom and gloom with AI. So like, what's your advice for people in kind of like, is it helpful to consume that, or is it like having a balance in your own mind and how you're thinking about things?
Yeah, my psychology background's kicking in here, and I say boundaries is like the most effective thing you can do right now.
Yeah.
Same thing applies when COVID was happening, all the news and the media. It's really difficult to consume that every day and maintain a positive outlook on life. So you have to choose. You have to make a choice. Do you want to have more of a positive outlook? Do you want to contribute? Do you want to have an external or an internal locus of control over your situation? And so if you want to be able to have agency over that, I say set boundaries, limit what you consume. Don't go down the rabbit hole. Set some time limits for yourself.
Yeah.
Create friction points that'll hold you back from consuming so much. And then have a support system that, can have conversations. Like this event is great because there are lots of real people here dealing with real problems and also real fears around the use of AI.
Yeah, I love that. Now, obviously, you've been walking around, you've seen some of the tools. Anything that you're excited about and you're thinking like, yeah, this is something which I'm just excited about, or like, what's your kind of general thought with the tools?
Yeah, so I co-lead an AI steering committee with our IT, our CIO in my company. So it's really cool because not a lot of companies are putting the CIO and the head of people at the helm of AI, right?
Yeah.
You think traditionally that's tech. So it goes to tech, but there's so much more to it than tech, especially when we're trying to keep the human in that loop. So what I found that is really inspiring is the focus on middleware or just kind of being a tech staff speak, like to get them to speak across different techs would be ideal for every organization. And technologies are still not up to pace with that yet. They're still trying to figure out, all right, now there's all these systems and tools that are coming out and they're part of the playground. So how do we get our system to allow us to be able to speak to other systems really cohesively? Because what organizations don't want to do is they don't want to have employees or candidates in several systems at once. So 5 to 10 systems, that's just so much friction. People are disengaged. So you're not going to get people to do anything in that. So from a change management perspective, you think if you're going to get people to adopt tools, you want people to have one single source point where they're going to go and centralize their experience. And I've seen some pretty cool tools here that are starting to get to lead that charge.
What about from the candidate side?
Yeah.
Candidate experience right now.
Yeah.
It's a tough place. You've got candidates that are using AI. They're mass applying. Companies are having to sift through things.
Yeah.
What are you seeing for your company? Like, how are you handling mass applicant flow? Those types of things?
Great question. So we actually have a very unique, different perspective. What's happening with us is based on the nature of our business. So we're actually a right-of-way professional services firm, very niche within the real estate industry.
Yeah.
So we help business, public sector, and utility entities acquire land rights. So think about transportation or transmission lines, things like that. They need to go in and acquire those land rights. Then they're going to contact a professional services company like ours. And because it's so niche and there's specific qualifications that are required, we actually don't have an overflow of candidates. We have to think upside down and turn everything around and say, how do we create more awareness for what our business is and how it affects communities in a positive way? So we are leading the nation's infrastructure in our business and what we do. And how do we get the next generation to be able to be aware of that? And the next generation wants to be part of social impact and social responsibility. So it seems like an easy sell, but it also falls in line with some of those trade type of opportunities and jobs, and not as much interest in those areas right now.
Well, I've seen a big shift, particularly a lot of new grads that are coming into the job market. It's really tough. You're seeing headlines around entry-level positions getting slashed and kind of replaced by AI. So I have seen kind of a resurgence of this hands-on work, these trades. Obviously tough if you've gone to a 4-year degree, spent a lot of money, and then to think about going into the trades. But what do those opportunities look like? And maybe for some of the parents who are out here, maybe some of the new grads who are listening, why is kind of getting into some of this hands-on work? Why is that a positive thing for them? Why should they look at that?
Absolutely. And I think to your point, like the trades are resurging, but it's not out of interest initially, right? It's out of forced survival, essentially. So I hope that they can connect to something that they find interesting. For the parents out there, I'd say that college is not the only choice. When I was growing up, my dad, military guy, gave me 2 options. After high school, you're going to college or you're going to the military. I chose college.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily the path for everyone in this next generation. So I would just say explore different options, and they have more and more opportunities to get involved in trade like jobs and crafts right before you can enter that kind of college age readiness.
Yeah, I love it. And I think those are the types of jobs too, which least likely to be replaced in the short term. A lot of entrepreneurial opportunities out there as well.
Right.
A lot of, I know, just an aging workforce, particularly with construction and like the manual labor. That's an aging workforce. So it's a lot of opportunity there. And I think that shift away from the fully remote tech jobs, that's obviously happening. Talking about in-office type roles. Are you guys in office? Like what's your kind of...
So we are in office, but I think one of the biggest shifts that's happening right now is this generational wealth transfer. And I think entrepreneurs, if you're interested in acquiring companies, there are tons and millions of businesses out there that are ready to hand over their business. They're nearing retirement. So over 10 million of those business owners are 55 plus, and they don't have a next person to hand that over. There's these programs that colleges do called ETA, or Entrepreneurs Through Acquisition, where they get you ready from a business perspective, and then they have you go out and either secure funding through lenders or PE, or you can kind of do an earn-in succession model where you can work with a potential business owner who wants to retire and kind of shadow them and then transfer that
the value.
Then you end up owning that when that individual wants to retire. So that's another path that is really, really fascinating.
I love that. where can people connect with you? What's the best place for people to find out what you're up to? Where can people find you?
Yeah, so LinkedIn is probably the place where I spend most of my time. You can find me through my name, Keisha Kruger. I'm on there, and connect with me there.
Amazing.
Yeah,
well, Keisha, thank you so much for showing up and being on the show. And I'm looking forward to hearing your talk. What time is it at again? Just start one out there.
2:15.
2:15.
At the Inspire stage right over here.
All right. Amazing. Yeah. So you're ready to inspire the crowd with some non-AI talk.
Are you ready to be inspired?
I am.
Okay.
I am. Well, as soon as I hear like no AI, I'm automatically inspired right now.
That's the only hook I have. So
I love that. I love it. Well, I just want to give a special shout out again to Basic Capital. They did give you a gift here as well that
Thank
you can
you.
take. So I'll hand that. And then
appreciate it.
We've got Purple Acorn here as well. Thank you so much for hosting us. Keisha, again, thank you so much. And I just always tell any of the listeners, viewers, if they want to connect with our guests, send a connection request on LinkedIn. Say I heard you on the podcast, and then just be patient because I know you're not hanging out on LinkedIn nearly as much as I am. So thank you again.
Thank you. Such a pleasure.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.